Feed it, feed it. To bolster your class, just feed it. Magic Initiate, let your cast light alert, let you go first in any fight. Just feed it, just feed it, just feed it, just feed it. All right. As you may have guessed, we're talking about Feats in Greyhawk Initiative. All right, let's get reasonable. Welcome, intrepid travelers. My name is Philip, the Reasonable Game Master, and we're talking about Greyhawk Initiative and Feats. This isn't meant to be an exhaustive list. These are just some feats that I thought just really seemed like they should or could affect initiative. And so I haven't really seen anything online about this because, feats are a variant rule, and so is Grab Initiative, and Grab Initiative is also an unofficial rule, so it makes sense that the rules don't cover each other, because it wouldn't make sense. The first feat we're going to look at is Alert, and this one should be a no-brainer, right? It gives +5 to Initiative under the standard rules, and so I think Alert should give a pretty decent bonus. Under the regular Greyhawk Initiative rules, it would just make the die size of one die you're rolling for Initiative go down by 1. But I think it should be higher. Either one die should go down by 2 sizes because of the +5. I would say for every +2, you should actually go down a size. A D8 to a D6, a D6 to a D4. I think the 2 maximum difference makes sense why they would go down that much. And so there's 2 basic ways that I might do this. And so either, like I said, one die goes down twice, or up to 2 dice go down 1 size. And so if you're only rolling one die, only one die gets to get smaller. So if you're only rolling one die, only one die gets to get smaller. But if you're rolling 2 dice, each of them gets to get smaller. And so this will slightly mitigate the effect on one die. Might be better for balance. It's going to depend how you feel about it. So I would try it different ways. The second feat we're going to look at is Athlete, right? So if you're like a cross-country runner or, some kind of acrobat, I think when you're trying to do like physical moves or actions, that should maybe affect how fast you go. I think I would leave it to situations where maybe the character's racing another character, or, they're rushing to get to a door or a lever, to switch it. I think in those situations, I might let the player make an athletics check in order to either get advantage or maybe use a smaller die on initiative to give them a little bit of a boost. I just think an athlete should be able to, push themselves to the limits a little bit more than the average Joe, and I think that just makes sense. Next one we're looking at is Charger. Charger doesn't really affect initiative per se, but under Greyhawk Initiative rules, if you're also using feats, Charger becomes much better because in Greyhawk Initiative you're trying to do less things to go faster, right? That's kind of the advantage you can get. With Charger, you can simply make a move action and then you have an attack built in, and for just closing the distance or maybe using it every round so you can move and attack with a single initiative die would be very powerful. I think it's worth mentioning, especially for players who want to make an optimal character under Greyhawk Initiative. It's not for everyone. Not everyone needs to have like the best meta character. But I think it's worth mentioning, and I think it's a very interesting boost under Greyhawk Initiative. Next week we're looking at is Lucky, right? So Lucky in the text says it only affects D20 rolls, but under Standard Initiative, Dexterity is a Dexterity skill check, right? And so it would apply. And so for me, I would allow Lucky to be used. That might be a no-brainer for some people, but I think in application it might get a little weird, and so you have some options. And so I see 3 basic options. So you can either say that the person using the luck can reroll 1 die and use the better of the 2, or choose which of the 2 to use, rather. You say that the player can reroll all the dice, but they have to keep track of the total, so they can decide which of the 2 totals to use. Or the most powerful option is to let the player re-roll just the dice that they don't like, and then choose amongst the better die rolls are there. That might be a little bit too wonky, maybe add a little too much time to every luck roll, but I think it's an interesting option if you want luck to be kind of an interesting factor. Especially maybe if a team of players want to all play lucky characters, then you could really play up the power of their luck. Next, we're looking at mobile, and it says you are exceptionally speedy and agile, and I think that means you should move faster. And so for me, that would let them use a 1 smaller die on their movement die initiative, and so it would go from a D6 to a D4, and I think that would be very interesting, not overly strong, but I think it would make them feel very quick. And I think that's really kind of the feeling that you want to get when you use feats, right? When a player makes
gets to use their feet, they should feel like, oh, yes, I am mobile, I'm quick. Or, I'm a sharpshooter, I can ignore cover, I'm really good at aiming, I'm a weapon master, I'm the best with this weapon, right? And that brings me to the last thing that maybe already has enough flavor, but if you want, and it makes sense, weapon mastery with a special weapon would make you a little bit faster probably, so I would say you can use one smaller die on your melee initiative check, right? So either a d8 to a d6 under the standard ground rules, or you take the weapon damage die and bring it down a notch and say you're this much faster. So if you're a master going against someone who's just trained or untrained, you get a slight advantage. Thanks very much for watching. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, put them in the comments below. Alright, thanks again, and remember, be reasonable and have fun.